I really feel like we sharing this testimony. I feel like I talk about it amongst my friends a lot. Um, I'm just remembering a time that I was driving to Reddington. I was going down Spout Hill and I nearly had an accident. This is what happened. I was at my mum's in Addiscombe. Something happened. I feel like I was talking to my mum and we had like a disagreement, and then I just went like really, really quiet. And I've noticed that when I'm thinking about something, I drive very, very slowly. Very, very, very slowly. I've had like even people in the car, maybe my mind is on something else and they'll be looking around like, what's good? Like, hurry up. Always happens. I get really, really thoughtful and then I move very quietly. So I remember I left the house. I was just driving slowly, generally like I think I was driving the speed limit in yeah, I was driving the speed limit, but a little bit no, it was like 20 everywhere. It was just weird. I remember it was a quiet day, so I wasn't really no one was like bibbing or nothing. I was just in my thoughts. Cool. I'm driving across. So I've gotten to Shirley High School and I've driven across by Shirley Golf Park, whatever. So I've got to the top of Spout Hill. I've gone through the barriers. I'm at the top of Spout Hill. I remember at this point I slowed down even more because I'm just in my head. I'm just thinking about like whatever I discussed. I'm going. Last few seconds before I take the curve. Remember, it's still my right of way. I've taken the last few seconds before I take that curve round. A grey, it was a dark grey like polo or whatever, just zoomed right across. So there was a road, like a side road on my left. So anyone coming on this side, they just have to wait until I go, then they can drive across. This person didn't know the layout of the road. They just zoomed right across. And when I say I was so close to them that they saw me and we both froze in our cars, I was in shock. I was in so much shock. I was annoyed as well, to be honest, but I was in shock. I was just thinking, like, it's so crazy how God, like, He knows about time. I just feel like I had been slow, slow, slow all the way during that journey, but then I slowed down even more on that hill because I know for me, it would have got to a point where it'd be like, oh, hurry up, Kath, man. And then I would have just like increased the speed. And then that would have been it. But I was even going extremely slow. That thing missed me by like a hair, like a fraction of a second. So scared. The way that we froze in the middle of the road, it was there for like a minute before we drove off because it was just crazy. I'm thinking about another time that I have another testimony about like there's always something to do with driving and cars. For me, so on Sundays last year, I believe it was a year before as well, maybe like during the summer after church, I would take a nap and then I would like go to a park or something. I love parks. I love picnics. Like I could just go there with a blanket, my speaker, and some water. Cool. So I must have gone. I went to Kelsey Park in Beckenham. On my way back, so I parked right outside the park. There's like obviously there's free parking around parks, so I parked right outside the park. I'm walking back to my car now. It's on a slight bit of the hill. I've got my AirPods in with music. Cool. I'm walking. It was like a few steps away from my car. I was like, this doesn't feel right. This isn't me. Those are the two things I thought back to back. This doesn't feel right. This isn't me. I get into the car now, so this doesn't feel right. This isn't me. My music player, but it's very, very quiet. It's like jazz, so it was just mad quiet. I started the car. It was a push start thing, so I've pressed the thing. I've done my biting point. I pressed it, blah, 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 and then I stalled. Even before I put down the handbrake. No, did I put down the handbrake? I think I must have put. I think I put down the handbrake. Either way, I stalled. I remember thinking when I brought up to biting point, I said, this doesn't feel right. This isn't me. Like my leg, it was like something was honestly in my leg. I hear people complain about sleep paralysis and all of those things, like something taking control. I obviously wasn't asleep, but I felt like no, like I'm very, very aware of myself. I felt like this isn't me. Something was holding my leg. And then I stalled. Next, like, not even, it was a beat. It was like stalled. I said, this isn't me. A a police van went zooming past on my side of the road, lights flashing, no siren. No siren at all. I was like, if I had pulled off, if I had got the biting point and I pulled off, I would have been hit and hit drastically. And they probably even would have blamed me because I had AirPods in, but like the music was minor, but your sirens went on. Aside from blame, I would have been I would have been pulverized. Like it would have just been chaotic. But I know, like, the fact that I was aware that, like, I knew it wasn't anything bad that was like at place. But I just knew, I knew that God saved me. God halted my foot, caused me to stall so that I wouldn't be hit. Stalled so that my life would be preserved. Like, it's crazy, but I just honestly, sometimes I just have to remember the testimonies of my life and how my life has been preserved.